everybody, Dr. Nelson here. This is a video lesson about creating scale drawings. All right. So first of all, take a look at this diagram here. Here we have a house, right? We have a living room, a bedroom, a study, right? Another bathroom, a main entrance, and a kitchen. And notice how the real life dimensions are included. So it looks like the length of the house is 18 feet. The width of the house is 20 feet. So again, these are all the real life dimensions of the house. And what we want to do is we want to come up with a scale drawing, okay? The dimensions of a scale drawing of the real thing, all right? So if you want to create a scale drawing of a house plan that has a scale of 1 inch, right, to 4 feet, that's what we're going to use, okay? What we do is we divide the actual lengths, okay, of the room by 4 to find the corresponding lengths, all right? So again, here we have the actual. We want to now come up with the dimensions of just the scale model. So what we got to do is we have to divide these numbers by 4, all right? So I'm going to write down just a big divide by 4 sign over here. So let's come up with the length, the corresponding length of the length of the house. So here we have 18 feet, all right? So if I do 18 divided by 4, right? Well, I know that 4 goes into 18 4 times, with 2 left over, and 2/4 is a half. So that means that this distance right here would be 4.5 inches on our scale drawing. All right, let's do one more. Let's do the width, okay? The width we know is 20 feet in real life. So again, if I do 20 and I divide it by 4, right? That gives us a nice whole number of 5 inches. So if I was going to draw, okay, this diagram as a scale model, okay, I would know that the length of the house would be 4.5 inches and that the width of the house would be 5 inches if we use the ratio 1 inch to 4 feet. All right, now here's a really important part of this lesson, all right? So there's more than one way to express a scale, all right? So for example, all right, here we have a scale of 1/2 inch equals 2 feet, all right? And I know most people don't like fractions. So what you can do is you're not necessarily stuck with this scale. You can change it as long as it's equivalent to this, right? So for example, if I took the 1/2 inch, I doubled it or multiplied it by 2, right? If I do 1/2 times 2, I get 1 inch. And if I do 2 feet times 2, I get 4 feet. So this ratio right here, this scale is actually equivalent to this scale. Except notice now the fractions are gone. All right, you can do that. That's absolutely fine. All right, you can also do the opposite. Let's say, for example, if I want to say divide 1/2 of an inch by a half. So if I divide it by 2, okay? If I divide a half by 2, I get 1/4. And then if I divide 2 by 2, I get 1. All right? So the whole point of this, I need you to understand, is that anytime you have a scale, okay, you can play with the scale, basically, to get equivalent scales that might be more useful for problems. All right, so let me show you an example of just what I'm talking about. All right, so it says determine the actual length and width of the study room. All right, so we're going to focus on this room over here, right here. Okay, so notice first of all, again, you always got to look at the scale. So we know that the scale says for every 1/2 inch, it equals 3 feet in real life. So I'm going to try to get rid of this 1/2 inch. I'm going to multiply it by 2. All right. So if I multiply it by 2, that gives me for every 1 inch, right, it's going to equal, now I have to multiply this by 2 as well, right? So 3 times 2 is 6 feet. All right. So I'm going to use now this new scale of for every 1 inch, it equals 6 feet, which is the same ratio as the scale that they gave us. So let's take a look at the length of the study. So we know that the length of the study is 2 inches, right? So we know that for every 1 inch, it equals 6 feet, right? So if I multiply 2 times 6, that means we're going to get 12 feet. So 12 feet is the length of the study. Now let's do the width. All right. So again, we know the width is 1.5 inches, right? So if I do 1.5 times 6, that would give us 9 feet. All right. So the big thing to understand is once you have a scale, okay, you're not stuck with that scale. You can transform it to make it something that's a little more useful to solve these different types of problems.